Hello and welcome to another awesome episode of The Modern Nerd. I'm Tim Bolin,
I'm Dan Smirch.
I'm GJC.
and we are, as always, massive nerds. So, as you can kind of tell by the layout and our backgrounds, we are going to be talking about a couple things. Moon Knight and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, we're going to start with Doctor Strange. And for anyone following along, we're going to try and keep this one a little bit shorter, about an hour. So follow with us and, reach out in the comments if you have something to add and talk to us here as we're live. Otherwise,
We should keep them all like an hour.
Yes, that's the goal. From now on, we're not going to give you 2-3 hour long
dude.
episodes anymore. So
Good luck.
that being said, let's jump right into Moon Knight. That had 6 episodes, 6 limited episodes, and I have heard the early news that so far at this moment it has not been confirmed for a second season yet. Judging by the way it ended, I would assume they're going to do more. Quick recap was Mark Spector, Stephen Grant go crazy and get possessed by Khonshu. Essentially, they are the same person, split personality, and have to fight Harrow, who's trying to let out Amit, who will judge everyone before they commit a crime and send everyone to hell, which is bad and bad. So,
jaywalking, you're dead.
Yeah, pretty much.
Spit on sidewalk, public urination, dead.
I'll say this: I enjoyed the show, not as much as some of the other ones. It changed my mind a little bit. I was really into it up until like the 5th episode. I liked that 5th episode because it was a deep dive into the psyche of someone with like a nice visualization of somebody that has a split personality and stuff like that. I thought that was cool. That they explored that a little bit more there. And then the 6th episode came and just sort of ended to me. It didn't really stick the landing very well. That end credit scene, I thought made it I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, that was, I guess, better, because like it just like you fight this bad guy who's trying to, raise Amit, and you have, of course, 2 giant CGI fighting monsters in the background, typical Marvel. And then you end it with him not killing the bad guy after he just like killed everybody, and it's like you have a change of heart and blah blah blah. But I'm glad that they shot Harrow and kind of ended that and moved it on. But it was cool. I like to see Oscar Isaac do that dual role. I thought that was good for him.
He's a
I
great
think
actor, man.
yeah, the coolest part of that show for me was, I think her name is actually like the Scarlet Scarab, is what she comes out to be. Whatever Layla's superhero character
cool.
becomes. I thought that was super cool. Cool representation. An Egyptian superhero on TV. That's awesome. I thought she was cool.
Her costume really was not representative of her god, though, which was kind of confusing.
Sure. Yeah, it was like wings. That's a hippo. Okay, sure.
Yeah. Whatever. Cool,
I will say this, for a show called Moon Knight, there really wasn't a whole lot of Moon Knight in it. Which I was like, I liked like the reveal in the beginning, and I was like, oh cool, just give me more now. And they didn't really do that, but the costume looked amazing. The Mr. Knight costume looked super cool as well. I wish they kind of progressed the characters a little bit faster, and gave us a little bit more earlier, so they could have had a little bit more fully developed characters before the last. Well, how long were those episodes? 45 minutes in the last episode. Like, you didn't get fully developed characters until episode 6, and then it left you wanting more. So I enjoyed the visuals. I enjoyed the fight scenes, what little there were. I thought the story was kind of cool-ish. Ethan Hawke, was Ethan Hawke, and I can't really do that wrong to me. So I, enjoyed that. I enjoyed lots of aspects of it. Just as a whole, it didn't stick the landing, and it kind of tripped on the way there too. But what do you got?
Yeah, I don't know. It it really feels like they're going through the motions now. Like, who we got left in the catalog? Oh, we got M's a Moon Knight. So we can do a Moon Knight show. Can we make a Moon Knight show happen? Yeah, we'll do a Moon Knight show. It just felt like it's one of those things where if I had seen this show maybe 10 years ago or something, before we had this influx of superhero media, I might have been like, that was pretty cool. But now we as an audience are probably, at least I am, getting kind of jaded on the genre. So like, I don't know. I can't know if I can objectively say like how good or bad this was. It didn't feel that good, but there were moments where I was like, that was cool. But then there are also moments like, I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, this just feels like it's just going through it. Just got to get this out and get it shipped and get it ready. Agreed. I think, first of all, the Moon Knight costume from the comics, to me, probably my favorite costume in like all of comics. And I think they did it justice. They even like kind of like I made it a little better. Maybe they like added like the kind of mummy bandage wraps happening, and I thought that was very cool. But other than that, I don't know. It definitely didn't. I was, kind of an interesting turn at the end of the second half of the fourth episode, and then the fifth episode. I was intrigued, but it was just I don't know. The reveal of the third altar kind of felt like too late, and by then I was like, whatever. I don't know. I can't quite. This is interesting. I can't quite put my finger on what didn't quite stick with me, but I just know that it didn't, and which is interesting because Oscar Isaac, amazing actor, Ethan Hawke, amazing actor, but it just felt not quite. It just didn't. It was lacking soul, I guess, is if I had to pick something. It just lacked passion. It kind of just felt like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how else to put it. I do. I mean, there's some great money shots of Moon Knight. When jumping and the moon in the background. And I was like, a little bit of goosebumps there. But otherwise, I mean, I respect what they were trying to do. There, I definitely found value in a lot of like, how like Khonshu was portrayed and how the gods were portrayed. But I don't know. I don't know what it is. It just didn't land for me. And I don't know if it's because it wasn't that good, or if I'm just getting jaded on superhero genre stuff, and you got to be really good. Hard to tell.
Yeah, they set a high bar for themselves, and that's I mean that's it's good because they got the bar there. You know what I mean? They gave us something that was like, but it's hard to kind of get out of that mode because end of phase 3 really was like a hard reset. You know what I mean? Like it's not like all the momentum dies and you have to start all over from the ground up. Essentially, you have these characters that we kind of already know, but we kind of have to build into it again and make new things. So it's like we're starting with Iron Man again and kind of getting used to the characters and getting this, figuring out the storytelling. Because phase 1, when you look at it, really was like it did not go like it did well for them. It set the groundworks, but like Thor, I thought was weak. Incredible Hulk, obviously, they didn't even do. That was not great. I didn't care too much for the first Captain America movie, but it set up all these great characters that they got to play with, and when the good writers finally got around to them, you got something awesome. And I feel like that's kind of where we are right now in the Marvel universe. Is we're being introduced to these cool characters. They are all, even some of the Eternals can be really cool once they're given to the right person to play with. Right now, it's like I'm playing with them. You're getting some cool action scenes and stuff, but I don't know what the fuck else to do, So it's like, here's what someone else did. George, how did you like the show? What did you think?
I was pretty into it those first couple episodes, and not so much the Moon Knight part of it, because I mean, I enjoyed the costume. Actually, side note, there's a really cool kid. He's like a tiny little kid, and he dressed up full Moon Knight at the premiere, and Isaac took a picture with him because as soon as he saw it, he was like, "This kid is awesome." It's an adorable little video they showed I saw on YouTube. It was adorable. I think they even posted it on their Instagram. Nice. So there's obviously kids who are into the Moon Knight merchandise and costume and everything. So that's great. That's already one. I think there's something, of course, always to be said about having like good representation, and they've done that more with like Middle Eastern heroes now. This will be the first one. The next one will be Miss Marvel. So that's great. There was something though that I have to say, probably one thing alone that killed the whole entire series for me, that took me out of it completely. And that's funny saying a Marvel movie, because it's also out there that you usually just go along for the ride, you know, in the sense that no matter how ridiculous it is, you can say there's an authenticity and a realism of it based on like what came before it, right? So like, if you can see that there's a world where there's a Thor, or a universe with Thor, you're more willing to believe there's a universe with Moon Knight, right? And stuff like that. Right. But you can, that all branches from Tony, right? Like that there's an Iron Man, and then there's these other things, and that's how it all builds on each other. So there's a realism in it that it is very difficult for you to get out of unless there's something truly inauthentic. And that point would be, I forgot which episode it was a few episodes in, but it was when Ethan Hawke spoke Chinese. His Chinese was terrible. I mean, downright you couldn't understand what the fuck he was saying. And this is not just me from being like one part of Taiwan that speaks Mandarin. This is like everybody on the internet, a lot of Asian people, a lot of Chinese people on the internet spoke up and was like, what the fuck was that? And we're talking like, that's like tons of people from all over China who speak Mandarin, all over the world who speak Mandarin, saying something about that. And that is just like,
sure.
Number one, it was an unnecessary line. For an unnecessary line, and for you to butcher it, and that not to have a single Chinese person on set or in the post look at it and be like, yo, dude, that does not make any fucking sense. Like,
yeah,
shame on you, Marvel. Honestly, with the millions that you make, you couldn't pay somebody. I don't even care. You pay someone $500, they'll be like, yeah, I'll listen to that line for you. You don't know a single fucking Chinese actor? Like, come on. You just put out a full like feature that was all Chinese actors, and you're telling me you couldn't find one Chinese person to write off on this, or whoever you found was somebody that you didn't like. If you did, you're telling me you found somebody. Who is this somebody? Like, come on, they scammed you bad.
Yeah.
That's like it wasn't even a necessary line, first of all. So it makes me feel like you threw it in there for some token reason, which is just kind of insulting, kind of. And number two is you didn't even like take the time to find somebody who could speak, like teach Ethan Hawke how to say that line. You could have, you know, worst case scenario, you could have dubbed over it with a Chinese guy. No one would have noticed the difference.
No.
You know? But you chose to, you know, that's like, that's the real twist in the knife. If you want to say it's like, I'm all for representation, but that's the real twist in the knife, is that like, when you make mistakes like that, it seems like it's blatantly obvious and that you're just doing it to like check a box. And that's like no one wants to feel like that, you know? So
it is a weird thing to have in the middle of it. Especially considering like Marvel is not like a lot of the Marvel movies, at least, aren't premiering or even showing in China. They're just straight up not. So I don't know, you know, who they were even trying to pander to.
I don't even know if they have. They don't have Disney Plus over there. I don't think.
I have no idea. I haven't looked that far into it.
There are movies that are not like in China. Like Black Panther is not one of them, I think.
I mean, they didn't get Spider-Man or Strange.
Yeah, there's a few that are not in there for like seditious reasons. Yeah. Like they don't want, it's censorship in China. So, but nonetheless, the Chinese like market is huge, and when it like they always like Marvel makes money over there. You know, like there's not a single like movie company that doesn't make money. Like in China.
Marvel apparently doesn't need it though, because Spider-Man made $1.9 billion without the Chinese market. So I mean, it's ridiculous worldwide how much money that movie made. It kind of feels like everybody is like they did everything right. They did in making this show. Like it's not
not
like something
really.
was like horribly
It's-
wrong.
It was more like they didn't do anything wrong.
They didn't do
Yeah.
anything wrong.
Yeah,
I wouldn't,
they
say, I
didn't.
wouldn't say they did everything right.
Yeah, they just didn't do it wrong, and so it's yeah. What
It's
what
not
I
going to
would
be.
want.
You know where this falls. So you know
Hmm.
where this falls in the tier list, right? It falls
Hmm.
somewhere close to like
Falcon?
Yeah, Falcon and Winter
Yeah.
Soldier. Not saying there
Exactly.
weren't cool stuff. And there are parts of it that I love. And same thing with Mark and Steven. Like that relationship, like I actually was the best part of the movie in many ways as far as
Yeah.
storyline
Yeah.
growth and character growth. Like at least they
Yeah.
chose to give as much time to Steven and as much time to Mark to like grow into like true friends and true brothers, like that's what they were, is they
Yeah.
became brothers. And that was a very touching thing. And to see
was.
how much Mark cared for Steven, like by the end of it, and when they came to the realization. I understand like
That was
the
good.
trope of like early trauma is like relatively played out, but they did what they could with it. And it kind of funny enough, like I don't know if you watch Picard is kind of like that too. It's like these characters that you kind of, it's like self-discovery of like early trauma and things like that. So I think that's like a theme that a lot of shows, go visit and use. But this was nice. And, the earlier episodes were interesting because it has like a kind of memento, like lost track of time, like, a serious version of, 51st dates or whatever. Like he doesn't know anything. Like he can't remember what's going on. That was kind of cool. I'll admit that the mystery of it and finding out with Steven about Mark was very cool. Like
Yeah,
they did that part really well.
it was strange that they like ended in the same way they started, though. You know what I mean?
It's like full circle.
If they feel like there's only like by the end of it, you feel like they have accepted that there's two of them in there already.
Mhm.
Why would they be still chained up? It just was weird. That last little bit felt really weird to me, where they were like tied back up to the pole and everything like that. I don't know. I feel like
That's
I would like
because
this
the
a little
other
bit
dude
more
tied
if I
them
knew
up.
they were if they knew.
Yeah, that's because
That's because the other
yeah.
dude tied him up.
If I knew that there was going to be more, or if I knew that this was going to be part of the larger MCU, I feel like I would like this a little bit more, just because I would be a little more intrigued onto the impact of what this character can do. But it's like, as far as I know, this was a six episode miniseries, and that's it. And if that's it, I feel very, if they don't give me another season, like I feel like very left out. Like you left it with that weird cliffhanger with introducing a third person at the very end. I'm like, that's just it just was weird. That's a weird move to me,
I mean, he was
why
always
give me
he was
intrigue
always
if you're
there.
not doing anything with
He
it.
was always there, and you always knew there was something else going on. You always had the suspicion it couldn't
did,
just be
but-
Mark and Steven.
Yeah, but like you
Right,
didn't
they were
really
like, it
play
wasn't
into
you,
it.
it wasn't me. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I
There
don't
were
know.
scenes where both of them blacked out, and that's like
Yeah.
part of the mystery of it all.
I'm gonna pass in the next season. There's no tie-ins, so if there's no tie-ins, then
There
I'm
was
sitting down to watch this like mediocre show that I just don't feel a whole lot of passion.
there
for.
was an article
like seasons of
the
Agents of
director-
Shield are like that.
pretty
I
much.
want to say it was the director or one of the writers were talking about how they're like, look, there's no plans to do another one. There's no plans to bring him in, but they're like, I feel like they're hoping and feeling like they could do something with this character in the greater MCU. So
Sure.
the internal people working on it are starting like a buzz to try and like bring it into the MCU. So hopefully that does. Honestly, if they bring it in, I think that would be awesome. I think that would be
Sure.
cool. I want to see how
I
this
think that
character
would be cool.
interacts with everybody else. But
I think there's
Yeah.
places for him to tie in, especially with like Kid Harington and like Blade and like some of the more
especially with
darker-
Blade.
Yeah, some of the more darker, like, fantastical people.
So
Maybe even one
speaking
day
of-
Doctor Strange, which is
Yeah.
an interesting segue, if you will.
Speaking of fitting people in, there was an article released today that they have signed Jason Statham to the Marvel Universe
To do-
and how they didn't say who or what he would be
MODOK.
playing. That'd be cool. Yeah, he'd work. He needs to be a little bit bigger. Wait,
No, they'll
not
just do him the
MODOK.
way they do Groot.
I'm
Dude.
joking with MODOK, dude.
No,
Let's
that'd
do
be
it, though.
awesome.
Just a giant
Jason-
Jason Statham head with a tiny body.
My name is MODOK. I'm gonna
But,
fuck
like,
you up. Whatever.
Introducing, it could be Captain Britain. Could be, there's
Dude.
a slew of characters.
Captain
that
Britain
would
is Henry
work for
Cavill.
him.
There's no
Dude,
question
you
that's
gotta go
going to
Cavill
happen.
if you're gonna go
Sure,
Captain Britain.
sure.
Man.
There's no
Sure.
question it's going to be Henry Cavill. Like,
No,
there's-
I would say maybe Cavill could be someone bigger, more important, like a Mr. Sinister. I just want to see Mr.
Ooh.
Sinister.
He would
Like-
be good Sinister.
He'd be great at Mr. Sinister.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as they don't give him stick him with Colossus or something generic.
Even then, yeah. Nah,
Yeah,
Mr.
give him someone with a little more depth.
I don't know.
Anyway,
He's too hot to be a villain.
I mean, he should be. He needs to do a really dark role, and I
love
think it would
but
be great.
he's leading man actor, and that's
Speaking
actors are
of-
like that.
Speaking of doing great in really dark roles, we're gonna go with Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness.
We got
For me.
we got to switch.
Oh yeah, we've got a
switched.
special. Hey, look at that, everybody! We
Hey.
did a
I have to
thing.
adjust the
Hey.
background. Well, wait a minute.
It looks good. It looks good. Oh, we're a little high.
Yeah, you guys are a little high for some reason.
That's fine. So, we all watched Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness yesterday.
Full spoilers ahead.
Oh yeah, full on spoilers. Anybody who has not seen it, if you are watching, we are going to spoil everything. And sorry about that. If you want to hear our opinions on it before you see it, you're welcome to stick around. But let's see how it goes. Yeah, I'm there's a lot to say about this movie for me. It's gonna go all over the place. Shall I, or does someone else want to take the floor first?
I think George should go.
Let's see it, Gio. George is
GC.
busy.
George is busy.
Dan, what do
Okay.
you got?
So
All right.
we start off coming hot in this movie. He's attending Christine's wedding. Right in the feels. We all watched the What If. Hard to not think about that. Clearly still in love with her. Things didn't work out. Got busy. But then all of a sudden, this movie is off to the races. And it does not stop. And hard to not like that. It's funny being me personally, getting older, how I 10 or so years ago or more, I would have been like, yes, so much action from front to back. And now as I'm getting older, I find myself valuing the slow down moments and the character moments, and when you learn about them, and the moments of just the 2 moments of them seeing their memories on memory lane, so powerful. We learned about them and the moment with him talking to his dark self in that kind of abandoned, destroyed universe was learned about a sister that drowned. Yep. Didn't know that. I love that stuff. I'm getting ahead of myself. It overall was good. I know I'm an emotional watcher, and I've come to accept this about myself. And since I knew that Sam Raimi directed this, it definitely worked at some points. And for some points, it definitely did not. I think
did not.
I think this was this was his shot. This was a good moment for him in his horror style of directing, because there was a lot of freaky shit happening in this movie, and that's great. But then again, there are also moments where I'm literally like the dude in the movie theater yelling at the screen, like, "What are you doing? Don't stop and wait for Wanda to get to you. Just keep going." Like they're stopping and waiting this long dramatic moment purely for the moment of terror. And I'm just like, this is not what we want. Why was Wanda, when she was chasing them through the sewers, why was she walking? She can fly. She was limping along for the pure reason of horror and terror. And I am like, Sam, I love you, but pick your moments, man. Fucking pick your moments. I really got that followed right up with the fact that they, after they sealed the door, they all turn around to wait. Like, fucking keep going. What are you doing? Like, oh, right. You're there sitting, waiting for the dramatic moment when she comes out of the shadows and goes, bah, blah. Like, man, I do like Sam Raimi. And other moments worked really well and were quite spooky and worked with the plot. But there are moments like that just as much where it just kind of like, huh, I'm like, oh, God, okay. All right, buddy. Yes, you're very scary. Let's get on with it, you son of a bitch. But other than that, I do think the ending brought it home for me. It was very, very climactic, very epic in multiple ways. And I think I'll pass and we'll keep this rolling.
All right.
Yeah, I still got stuff to say, but let's spread it around a little.
We'll bring it around. George, you ready?
I mean, for me, we always said that the best 3D IMAX movie I ever saw was the first Doctor Strange, and so I was very interested to see how they would deal with that. Definitely less in the visuals. Not saying I didn't enjoy in 3D, but I definitely did. But there was less of the trippy visuals than there was in the first one, I think. Or it could have just been because the first one was so incredibly shocking that we noticed it more. To be honest, didn't take me more than halfway through the movie to stop realizing, not stop, but to get used to that the movie.
Yeah,
it didn't like being in 3D. It didn't like change it that much, to be honest.
It was cool. I don't know, it didn't seem that different. Maybe our eyes just got used to it.
Yeah, maybe our eyes got used to it, but it didn't seem that different, you know.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I would venture to say if you didn't see it in 3D, you would have been okay. You would have enjoyed it just the same.
I did not see it in 3D.
Did you? And I'm assuming you enjoyed it.
Well, I'll tell you about my movie going experience
but anyways,
in a moment here.
So that was my
good.
take on the 3D IMAX experience. Which is really what I went for more than anything, to be honest. As far as like storyline, obviously I enjoyed a lot of the same things that Smirch did, but I also enjoyed that they introduced somebody like new who was like she did what she could. Like she's like a refreshing new character kind of to try to bring like him, because he's like now permanently with a sidekick of some sort, right? Like whether it's Wong, whether it's Spider-Man, whether it's like he's gonna have somebody with him from now on.
He has two sidekicks.
Yeah,
he has her and a third eye.
Oh yeah, that's right, and a third eye now. So I think it's interesting. My biggest point of the whole movie, and I know Dan and I talked about this, is like I feel like they gave Scarlet Witch the Daenerys Targaryen treatment. Like they did her up, dude. Like she's this for a whole season of WandaVision, she's this badass, and you like feel for her, and she's like, you understand she does all this stuff without her own, like she's she's doing it from grief. Yeah, like, and it's not like we didn't know that she could turn bad, because the stuff she did was kind of bad, you know, like it was bad,
but murdering, like not massive amounts of murder.
Yeah, not massive, not like a homicidal maniac, like just like hell bent on getting what it is that she wants, and like not caring about life and other people's lives like that. I just didn't see that vibe at all, and it's almost as if the people who wrote this movie maybe didn't watch WandaVision.
That's literally how I felt.
Wait, fun fact, Sam Raimi did not finish WandaVision.
Yeah,
well,
although he didn't write the movie.
But like,
still,
nonetheless, it feels like the people who wrote it or watched this or did this movie didn't like didn't watch the same movie or show we did, or of WandaVision, like, or what was going on, the same story. Like something is not gelling properly, because the tone is totally different with her character, you know. And like bravo to her for, like, I don't know. I wonder if she even bothers to say anything. She's probably like, just write me off this fucking franchise. I don't want to be here anymore. She probably is getting the same fucking. She's a nice actor, and she has like a lot going on for her, and she's like, she has a bright career ahead of her. Without, she could take this paycheck and walk away, and I think she should, because like they're doing her the same way that they did Scarlet. Like, I bet you she doesn't get paid nearly as much as some of the other men in the MCU. Just
she spent 10 episodes establishing this character. That's
I bet you she did not get paid. Like, I bet you she doesn't get paid the same amount, and that's just the way it is with this company, and it is with Hollywood. And maybe I'm wrong, and I'd love to hear that I am wrong, and that Disney tried to clean up their act. But I'd be fucking surprised if she got paid nearly as much. Like, she's like, they treat their women like terribly in these franchises. And they get done up, and some of the, it's like the only people who get treated even remotely decent are like people who are shiny and new, and they treat you really well early on. So like, you're kind of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sign on to this contract for like a five like film deal, and then like halfway through it, they pretty much just write your character off or do you dirty, and then you're just like, sucks all the soul and all the joy you want out of this character. It's sad. Yeah. Like, they did her dirty in this movie.
Very dirty.
So I'm gonna step in here. I rewatched WandaVision and finished it a few days before we went and saw the movie.
I did too.
I loved every single second of her character in this movie. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic, because maybe I have more knowledge, but with the whole the Darkhold book, like, you see her at the end of the movie, at the end of the trailer, she's sitting at the end of WandaVision. She's sitting in her home in the mountains, which are different mountains apparently. Just like deep diving into the Darkhold, and like, you become this person. Like,
wait, at the end of WandaVision?
Yeah, like, you see her at the home
with
in
the Darkhold.
Yeah, you see her in the cabin in the woods, holding the Darkhold, floating in her little meditation thing, and like all the red around her, and like the pages are flipping, and she's like, you know, her eyes are like tweaking, and then you hear the kids, and she like snaps out of it because she's looking for her kids in these alternate universes. And then you cut to this, and she, you know, when we finally get her in the movie, she's, you know, in a nice peaceful little meadow picking some, you know, cutting some apple trees and shit like that.
That was an all act.
And and then you wipe it away, and you see the full effect of what the Darkhold has done. It's taken her. She has become the Scarlet Witch, and it is taken control of her. As much as she has read it, it's read into her and changed who she is, and became a singular focused being. Because it becomes like, it destroyed every tree in the area. It's not just her, it's the Darkhold's touch reaching out to this world and poisoning everything in it. So I fell into it and was just completely enthralled. With her performance. I thought she took what she was given and ran with it. And those moments where she, like, it was the close-ups on her, and she had these minute little like facial expressions and differences, and like, you could tell that her character was like just tormented and like wanting this eventuality of her living, you know, with her kids, and doesn't really give a shit about anything else than what was coming through. I bought into it. I loved it. It was one of my favorite parts of the movie, and for me, it saved a lot of it. Now, there was moments like Dan was talking about where I was completely pulled out of it because of Sam Raimi's directing style. I had the same moment where they were running through that tube and then they stopped. I'm like, just keep going. Like, every movie does this. It's been played and played and played.
It was funny. It was like Marvel's take on a horror film.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's Sam
goofy.
Raimi. It's my problem is Sam Raimi did Sam Raimi too much, and Sam Raimi's style is, he came from a movie that was like $30,000, and so he had to use cheap camera tricks and, you know, cheap special effects to try and make things look scary, you know, with like the camera shake and looks like a handy cam for moments, and like, he did stuff like that in this movie, and I'm like, Sam, you're not in the wood. You're not a cabin in the woods making a movie with your friends. You don't need to have somebody hold the camera and shake it like they're being attacked by a demon. Like, when Christine, Rachel McAdams' character, was fighting off one of those dark souls that was coming out of Strange, it looked like the dumbest silliest, stupidest thing I've seen on screen in a long time. And I was like, oh, wait, we're in a comedy now? Like, what is happening? It pulled me out for a couple of seconds, and then it went right back to like this really intense moment that Strange is having. It was also a little strange when he was like taking over the corpse of a dead body towards the end of the movie. But I mean, I was like, that I thought was okay. Of all the things, like visually, when he had the cape of the souls, I was like, that's kind of fucking badass looking. I mean,
awesome.
A little creepy, but
I can't tell if they were using special effects for when he was like kind of like talking like a zombie and like sporadic movements.
Yeah,
either way,
it
liked
looked
it.
great.
I thought that was
hilarious.
weird and cool.
For me, a lot of my issues really do have to do with like Sam Raimi and some of the writing. Overall, I really enjoyed the story. I thought that was really cool, and I liked what they did with it. There were moments that just kind of didn't land. I felt a little cheaped out with like, okay, so let me back up. I went way too deep, way too fast, really quick. I saw this again in Screen X like I saw the Batman, because it's the only good theater in my area. I don't have an IMAX near me. This Screen X was fucking cool. Because it really did utilize the extra side screens and pulled it towards you, so you felt like you were a little bit more in the scene. There were some scenes where you see like Wong and Wanda, and then like it'll pan from Wong and then cuts to Wanda, but Wong is still there, but he's like on the wall. So you can still see him cut into the scene, but like where he would be, but like off camera. It was cool. It really did work a lot better in this movie. I don't think, Warner Brothers and whoever was making the Batman really took that into effect, and I don't think it needed it, because it wasn't the same kind of movie. That was like a neo-noir detective movie, and this is like a big action film where you want to be immersed a little bit more. And with the 3D, with the IMAX, that's what Disney and Marvel are doing, is taking advantage of these new technologies, and I think it worked, and it really did help with my experience in the movie, and I enjoyed it. Going back a little bit with Raimi, I wanted it to be a little bit. I wanted it to stick to its guns, and it did kind of feel a little bit all over the place with his directing style. Like, it's like you had two styles kind of intertwining, and I liked the little Bruce Campbell cameo. I was like, oh, cool, fine, allow it. Why not? Let's do it. It's fun.
Contractual obligation.
Yeah, cool. I'm sold. I wanted a little bit more out of America Chavez's character. I wanted them to write her a little bit more. Like, she just kind of was there and like tagging along, and you didn't really get that depth of camaraderie between the two of them until the end of the movie, when he like finally is like, all right, do your thing. You can control your powers. You got this. And that whole scene with like Wanda seeing her kids again and like all that stuff, that was like intense and like super powerful and super well done.
I want to say, like, despite what I said about like how bad they did her character, like, I think she did what she could with the story she was given, and she did an amazing job. Like, Elizabeth Olsen, like I said, she's got great things going on for her. Like, she doesn't need, I don't think she needs this franchise, is my point. Not saying she shouldn't come back, but like, I think she, like,
I want more.
If this is the end of her for a while, which it looks like it could be, like, we might not see her character for the rest of the phase, then that's fine. Like, she can go off and and come back whenever she wants to, because you know the rule: no body, like no death. Like, you need to see a body.
You see that tower collapse towards the end, and
there's
then
a bright red. Yeah,
there's a bright red flash.
So I'm assuming she survives, or she's like maybe in stasis or in another reality or something.
I honestly hope that she's like the big bad for the rest of the series. Like, in the end, like, really give her. I mean, I don't think she will, because she kind of. But like, that would be not just Strange fighting her, but have her interact with the rest of the characters that she, just fought alongside with, but like be on the other side of the table. Like, that would be kind of an interesting device, but we'll get into that. Before we run out of time, we have some time left, obviously. Let's talk about like the Illuminati in the room here. They in the trailer, they gave us the first trailer. I'm not talking the second one. The first trailer, you blatantly hear Patrick
Stewart.
Oh my God, Patrick Stewart. Wow, you're welcome, world. And you're like, okay, so he's coming at some point, and then they say the words, we don't have Shield, we don't have, whoever, we have the Illuminati, and I'm like, oh my god, we got Tony, we got all these people, and man, they changed up and I'm happy that they kind of changed up who's in it. I thought that was a really cool cast. Let's go through it. You've got in least shocking order, Captain Carter, because she was in one of the trailers. Super cool to see her live action version of that. I was really excited. You got a returning, I believe it was the same person, or no, was it different? A new casting for Inhumans.
It's the
Same guy, right, from the
it's
TV
the same
show.
guy from Inhumans TV show.
Bolt thing? Black Bolt.
Black
Thank
Bolt.
you, Jesus. What's wrong with me today? You've got Miss Marvel as Maria Rambeau, which I was like, cool, good.
Cool.
I like to see that there was a universe where instead of Carol flying the plane, it was Maria.
Well,
That's
she's
all
the
it took, was that little
original.
difference.
She's the original Captain Marvel, I believe. She used the name
No.
way before Carol did, I think.
No,
Hmm.
Carol was.
No,
was
no,
Captain
no, no,
Marvel
no, no,
first.
no, no. I'm pretty sure there's, or maybe she used the Miss Marvel name before Carol did.
Miss Marvel, probably. Captain Marvel, no. To my knowledge, I am.
Either way, she's had the
I
name
could've-
Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel at one point as well.
Yes, she definitely held the title at one point,
So,
which was cool to see.
It's interesting to see.
You've got Disney doing the one thing we just talked about in our Star Wars episode. They did it in here. They listened to the fans, and they cast John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. And I mean, I was excited to see that it was him. I always will have a problem not seeing Jim Halpert whenever I see John Krasinski, because I watched The Office.
He sounded
Um,
different. He changed
he
the
did.
inflection of his voice, which
He
I
did.
appreciated. So
I did
that's
too.
good.
I was happy to see it. Apparently, they did also. I don't know the source. I only read the title of this one, but they did, I guess, cast him in the actual Fantastic Four movie. So I think whatever universe Fantastic Four movie is going to take place, it's going to be him. It's going to be Krasinski again playing it.
It's awesome.
Whether or not we get Emily Blunt or not, who knows? I hope we do. They have
They're
good
great
on-screen
together.
chemistry. Yeah.
Emily Blunt.
Now,
if they get Emily Blunt, I want Wonder Woman to take front and center because Emily Blunt's really good. She
Invisible
deserves more, yeah.
Woman.
Yes. Sorry. Yes.
To Wonder
yes.
Woman. I was like, cool, she could be
Oh.
Wonder Woman. It's fine by me.
Yeah.
Did anybody else? So what we got, I'll say this and then I'll open it up. What we got from the Illuminati scene was what I expected to get in the Spider-Man No Way Home movie. Was like a little cameo for about 10 minutes. And that's what we got. 10, 15 minutes. They got a little mini fight scene. And then, spoilers, everybody basically got exploded or cut in half or
Worst Illuminati ever.
But it was cool. I mean, I love seeing it. It's weird to say this out loud now that I was about to, but seeing those kinds of, you see the characters die. You don't usually get to see them die, it's an alternate universe, so it's interesting. But I wish there was a little bit more. I mean, they kind of did Richards a little dirty. He didn't do anything.
What the hell? Yeah, he really. That's fine. But like, what the hell was that? What kind of Illuminati? You fuckers are running this planet, and you were like, no,
Universe.
Doctor Strange. Universe. Oh my god, even worse, dude. Like, we know what's best for this place. We know that. Like, not only were you a bunch of idiots, you got pwned by a matter of seconds. And I understand that Wanda at this point is supposed to be like the all-powerful, like,
Yeah.
But toe-to-toe with Captain Marvel, beating her in a matter of minutes? No. Sorry.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel is supposed to be like Superman level powerful, and you pwned her inside of a few minutes. The one who put up the most fight is Captain Carter, who has like arguably the least amount of abilities out of everyone.
But she
Like-
could do this all day. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, we were all ready for it.
I've
and I
always
was like,
said
come
her
on, give me
super
the
high
line.
power is indomitable. Like she
Like,
always, she has that
It's the
Hulk.
one-
She's like has the Hulk thing going
Say
on.
your fucking
you know?
line. Everyone drink, and we
Like,
can
exactly.
move on.
one
Like,
person who did the most was Professor Xavier.
Okay, fine.
You got the closest.
Yes, he lasted longer than I thought he would, but that's fine. They can't. I do think a Scarlet Witch versus Professor Xavier, I don't think there would be a contest. But in this instance, they have to make her all powerful, and she just like overpowered him with magic. Like, all right, fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I don't buy it for a second, but I get that you're just trying to like, well, we're gonna kill everyone. I might as well kill this guy too.
At
Really
least it
leave this
didn't-
place high and dry so we can get out of here, and this place will be never referred to ever again in any future Marvel movies.
If they did too much with it, it probably would have taken away from the story. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's for what it was, like it kind of
Maybe.
needed to be that short. They didn't have to fucking kill everybody
They didn't
like
have to
that.
kill everyone, and they didn't have to make the Illuminati
But
that fucking.
They didn't kill
stupid.
everyone.
Like,
Yeah, she did. She killed every member of the Illuminati
Mordo is
except
still
for
there.
Mordo. He wasn't.
Mordo is still
I don't-
there.
Was he? He didn't have a seat though. I think he was
He's
just
part
like
of the council. He took Strange's spot because he's Sorcerer
But
Supreme.
it was. Well, he's the only one that didn't fight her. So there you go.
Yeah, he's the only one that survived.
But like, I mean, Black Bolt is a king, and
that shit,
like,
that shit
did-
was like nasty,
like, what
hilarious,
mouth?
but also really cool at the same time.
like, it was
Kinda like-
ridiculous.
I don't
It
know,
was
man,
cool
whatever.
to see all of them. You know,
I want.
I
I
loved-
want-
it was a nice. I liked seeing Xavier again. It was just nice to see him. I didn't need to see him because he got like the proper farewell in Logan. But you know, I mean, hey, if you're gonna have someone show up, I'm glad it was Patrick Stewart.
I was gonna say there was a few things. Is when Patrick Stewart showed up in the chair, they played a little bit of X-Men '97 in there.
Oh, yeah, they did.
There was a little the do coming in.
I didn't even notice
which is
that. George
awesome.
pointed that out to me.
Yeah, that was
X-Men
I
'97.
nerded out.
So shout out to that.
Yeah, they're bringing that back on Disney Plus.
Interesting that they chose not to have a Tony, even though Ultron is obviously there. So I
Well,
don't know
but
what
in
the
this
story
universe,
is.
did Ultron actually get invented by who it was supposed to
Exactly,
be invented by? And
which
Hank
was
Pym?
Hank.
Like,
So that's the
That's
question:
what I was
is in
thinking.
that
I was
universe
thinking
who
Hank
invented it? It does its, and it seems like if it is just, there's also the possibility maybe their Tony died fighting Thanos as well. So, which he
Possible.
died obviously, you know, fighting Thanos in our universe, quote unquote, the one that we know. So it could be that Tony's not
Zone
around it,
6?
but Ultron is still around because, and probably being controlled by the Council. Maybe Reed, who's obviously a genius. Also, funny thing about Reed is the way he showed up into the room was really, really interesting. It's like a new type of
I have to see it again.
it's a
can't
new
remember
type.
the
It's
exact
almost
moment.
like a teleportation. It's not a teleportation technology per se in the sense of what we're used to seeing in like Star Trek or whatever, but it was a instant travel technology similar. It almost looked like a TVA doorway, but blue. And his blue instead of, and it popped
Ooh,
up
yeah,
almost
that's
exactly
true.
kind of like that, like a door frame size TVA thing. When with, you know, spoiler alert for those who don't know, the story of connection of how he connects to the TVA and time travel is he's a distant relative of Kang.
Is
Reed
it really?
Richards?
He's a predecessor. Yeah, Reed is a predecessor to Kang. He's related to
And
Kang.
and they made a point in this movie to mention his children in
Yeah,
this movie.
that he has
Yeah,
kids in this
Which
universe.
I found especially interesting because his son is like supposedly the most powerful person.
Marvel, yeah, one of the
anywhere.
most powerful
Create-
Marvel offspring ever. So it's very
create
interesting
galaxies.
that the way he walked into that room. Look at it again. It looked like a doorway. It looked like a TVA doorway almost, but blue instead of the,
Okay, let's all go watch it again.
orange gold.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Oh no.
that was just two little things that I kind of noticed about that one scene, I guess.
No, that was yeah.
Oh, and
I mean, it
also
was
I
cool.
love the part
Go
where
ahead.
Doctor Strange tries to get to Mordor and is like, man, you were always jealous of me. Like you always thought
Yeah.
I was not worthy. Like that's why you closed the door on me. That, you know, and like it's why like you like always thought I was like beneath you, you know, and that's why you hate me, like because you're jealous of me. I bet you did the same thing to the Doctor Strange in this planet, and I don't know if it was the truth or not, but like that hit home for. I think that relationship is
possible.
probably like that in every single universe. You know, there's the same thing with him and Rachel, just never fucking works out, never figures it out because he
Christine.
is Christine. I mean Rachel, yeah, Rachel McAdams, but him and Christine, same. Hard for Doctor Strange to get over that hump, that emotional hump he has, you
which
know.
he does technically. They
In
hint
this,
at that because
there's
he
resolution,
fixes the watch,
which is
at the
why
end.
they introduced like
The Dark.
Charlize Theron's character.
Oh yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
hold
Doctor
on. Wait, back
Strange.
up. Whoa. Too far. Hold on.
All right.
I like it. We're gonna get to that. No, go ahead. Clea.
Yeah,
At this point, just Clea.
Dr. Clea Strange. Oh no, is it just Clea?
Just Clea.
Or is it Dr. Clea Strange?
At this moment in time, it's just Clea. She
Okay,
is not
sure.
Clea Strange yet. That's hopefully they continue with that and don't just sort of one-off it. I'm intrigued by what
there
they
was
do.
a bingo card of people who we thought might show up in this, and even though she had been rumored, I don't think she was even on my bingo card. Like, I did not think I would see Charlize Theron, even though there were rumors that she was going to be in a Marvel movie. But a lot of people have rumors that they're going to be in a Marvel movie. You know, it's just
That's
never
true.
like, it's not like she was one of the characters they showed in a Disney press conference, one of those like upfront things, you know, when they show all the movies or things coming up in the next phase, right? She wasn't even in any of those pictures. So
Yeah,
it's
they did a
interesting.
good job for me holding it in. And
yeah, they didn't like. There was pretty much no leaks about her being in this movie, which is great. Like, and I think that was interesting to see. So
let me ask you guys a question. Do you like classical music and weird visualizations in your fight scenes?
Yes, apparently I do.
We got one of the weirdest fight scenes I've ever seen in my life.
Where did that come from?
Somebody's been watching Scott Pilgrim.
What possible
Yeah,
reasoning would there have been for that?
Somebody's been watching Scott Pilgrim.
It was cool. It was weird.
I loved it. Out of left field,
Yeah.
but I loved it.
That was some good 3D action, actually. I'll say
the
that.
harp at the end. Oh, that was cool. That was
3D
a nice
action.
little moment.
Ludicrous. I really would like a reason for why that happened, but at the same time, I'm not mad.
I think
that
the
was
thing
awesome.
is that they have
More
the ability
musical
to take
fights.
text, no matter
More
what
musical
kind of
fights, Marvel. Do it. I loved it.
even if the text is not like spells, but as long as like it's text, they can use it to like, I don't know, come off the pages, and like music is its own magic.
It was cool. So now, before we get into Clea, we'll get to that right after this. Did we see at the last? It's not an end credit, but it's that moment of the end of the movie, which I thought was an interesting choice. It's definitely a Sam Raimi choice, and I wasn't mad at it. But the movie ended with him walking out of the thing, you know, in his whatever weird brown shirt that was, and he walks to the end of the road, and then starts having a headache, and then falls over and leans up, and then boop, you get that little third eye like the Dark One did. So my question that I put forth is, the Dark One, let me back up a little bit. The Dark One went around absorbing all these beings and everything. Do you think that when he was killed, that he is now part of this Doctor Strange? And like that represents him absorbing the Dark Strange, or is
let's
that
talk about this? Is
that part of the Darkhold?
Before we do that, is this Doctor Strange that he killed the same one we saw in What If?
No,
I think it is.
no, it's not.
I don't think it is.
No, it's not.
That's not what we. If they did, then they just retconned how he was living by the end of What If and where he was, and just changed that. And I don't think they would do that. So if
Him
that's
and the Watcher
true,
have like a buddy cop thing going
Time
on.
has passed.
I don't know, but yeah, maybe. But
I don't remember the end. I don't
think it's. I don't think it's the same.
We would be assuming that he are the same person, but I don't think they are. And if that's the case, we don't know for a fact that this Doctor Strange was going around absorbing people. So I don't think that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
I think this third eye is something that we are unaware of.
I think the third eye is part of the Darkhold.
Or I think the third eye is something that's yet to be revealed. Something we don't even know how he acquired it. Maybe it's part of the Darkhold. Maybe it's about something else. And moreover than that, I wonder if this is his eye even. Is this the other Strange's eye that is now peering through his body at this point? Or what that third eye on the other evil Strange? Maybe that wasn't even his eye to begin with. Maybe this eye is something else entirely, peering through the eyes of going through Strange's now and finding its way to whatever its goal is, whoever's looking through it. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
It looks like he can control it. Like towards the end, at the end credit scene, when you see Clea pop out, like he throws his cape around. It's like, are you kidding me? And just, let's do this thing.
I think he can control it. I think somebody's looking through that eye. That's what I think.
Somebody's been watching some Lord of the Rings. I lost my
So then
contract. No, my move.
after that,
Man, how
After
could you
that,
lose
we-
that contact? That's a huge ass contact.
No one move.
really dry.
No one move. It's
It
that
takes like
giant
5
thing
dudes
right
to
over
lift
there.
that one contract.
Please don't walk on the contact. Oh God, so many smudges.
Ooh,
So
I
they
like
say
that.
something- yeah,
Triple big nut.
hilarious. That Wanda comes back and has to fight Evil Strange.
That would be interesting
okay.
to see.
That would be interesting. I like
Well,
that.
who's the
That'll be a
bad?
twist.
Who's the bad guy in that situation? Where
Well,
Wanda
who's
has
the
to
Evil
fight it?
Strange? Is Evil Strange that we met in this movie dead, or is it our Strange that's become evil?
I think it's our Strange becomes evil.
Does anyone feel debated by the fact that in the trailer, like that we see a clearly dark Doctor Strange, and he goes, "Things just got out of hand."
Yeah,
that was not in this.
that
movie.
was a Marvel moment for
yeah,
me. Like
so that was not in this movie.
because
So I don't
I
know.
liked it because I went
Debated.
into the movie thinking that the evil Dark Strange was going to be the bad guy, but they gave me Wanda, and I kind of liked that because they faked me out. I didn't think she was going to go full evil, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like it gave me a fresh perspective going into it, as opposed to having maybe watched that other trailer. I would have been completely changed on my opinion of what is going to happen in the movie. So I liked it. I think from going forward, I'm going to try and watch less trailers. Strange trailers.
Trailers.
Right. So then at the end, right after we see that third eye, we do get Clea, who opens up a portal which looks like it came from the Dark Realm. Is that what it was called? I believe in the first one.
Dormammu.
And
Yeah.
Clea is the niece of Dormammu.
Dormammu.
So there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
a lot of backstory here. And so I'm gonna go with what I know. And what I know is at some point she does become the future Clea Strange. They do get married at some point in the comic books. Whether or not they're going to do that in this, I don't know. She does eventually leave him, I guess, or goes off to the Dark Realm to usurp Dormammu and becomes the ruler of the Dark Realm. If I'm even saying that right.
Isn't Dormammu done?
No, he wasn't dead. He was trapped. Remember?
He's bargained.
They
He just can't come to
promised not
Earth.
to come back. Yeah, and do that. So
Okay.
I'm intrigued. You know, I like that the character exists. I'm happy that she's in there.
The idea of Dormammu is that he's actually what Doctor Strange could become eventually if he pushed it, you know, because
Sure.
it's the same concept. He's absorbing worlds. It's the same thing
Yeah.
as the Dark What If Doctor Strange was doing. He was absorbing creatures. Now imagine that on a galactic global scale so Dormammu is actually kind of similar in the sense that he came from he wasn't always like that. Is my point. He didn't always look like that, dude. He looked like he was a normal looking person, and then he eventually became Dormammu. Is like the idea.
Interesting.
So that's why.
That is very.
That's why.
interesting.
Yeah. And Dormammu was voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Did not know that.
I think I knew that at one point.
Yeah.
He's
So Big Nut said,
that's an interesting thing.
secretly was hoping for a 1/6.
Yeah. Where is Vision?
That would have been cool to get us a
Yeah,
different
it was
version
not
of
a
Vision
single
from that
note.
universe.
Yeah.
No
I
Vision
didn't think
at
about that.
all.
That
I
is-
was really hoping for the
Any
new
type
Vision
of
that they
Vision.
showed at the end. Again,
Right?
Clearly didn't.
Well-
Whoever was doing this movie clearly did not see the end. Like
We
he's
had-
out there. Like
He's a West Coast Avenger at one point, and I think who else was it? I think
Yeah. Like
Clea
where
was at one
exactly?
point.
Why in the other universe?
America was. I don't remember.
Yeah.
yeah.
Why in the other
Yeah.
universe is there no
Excellent.
Vision? In any other
It's a good
universe where
question.
there's kids.
Where did those twins come from?
Not,
Yeah, where do
no
those kids
talk
come
about
from?
any Vision anywhere.
she
Like, they
made them
couldn't-
out of magic without Vision.
In
She was
every
just-
other universe.
Immaculate conception
but
of
it's
twins.
stuck? I don't know. It's there's a lot to kind of unwrap in this film.
It was weird.
It was a ride from start to finish.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm
open
gonna
with that
question if
alternate-
they might have been writing Doctor Strange and WandaVision at like the same time. Do you know
It's
what I'm
almost
saying?
like
Like
they
they were just doing two things, and they're like, we're gonna try our best to do our tie it in, but like this is where you need to be at the end of the series. We got a whole entire season to do it. Get her there, introduce these characters. She somehow has twins. Figure that shit out, and then
Good luck,
like, because if you
motherfuckers.
look, it's not like the kids aged at all. So they
No, it's the
filmed
same
this
actor.
almost immediately, or at the same time, or immediately after WandaVision, right? This is like done at the same, like those kids are exactly the same age as they are on the show. There was no time for them to age. And kids you know how it is. Kids at that age, like a year, they're fucking 6 inches taller and look totally different. Like, you can't, you know what I'm saying? And those kids were not CGI to look younger. They look exactly the way they did in the show. So what I feel like is when they were in the planning phases, they're like, listen up, you got this many episodes to get these people to here. Somehow find a way to get kids in there because they're going to be in this movie because we were already shooting the scenes on set in the movie to do this as well. And then Elizabeth, when you're done shooting these scenes, we need you to go over there because you need to start shooting those scenes for the show too, at the same time. Like it looks like they were doing it at the same time and they had no idea where the show was going at the end. Because that's what it feels like. I'm sorry. It kind of does feel like that sometimes.
I got.
They grew themselves too, right?
I got nothing
now
wrong.
they're professionally 8 to 10 years old.
The show was fantastic.
I know,
The show was great. I fucking oh my god! And then the music came on. The music came on, and with the WandaVision, me and Smirch were like, after the movie, we're like, WandaVision.
Yeah, I liked them. I liked them both. I like them together. I think they work. Maybe that's just me suspending my disbelief and just filling in the gaps in my mind between the show and the movie. Time passes. I don't know how much time has passed, so I have to allow things to progress in with not on the screen, and so that's where we got, and I'm fine with it. I liked this Scarlet Witch. I want more of it, but we'll see what we get in the future. Yeah, what is next? Thor in 2 months in July. Thor: Love and Thunder is the next movie they do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to kind of see where, the pacing of what's happening here. It's a different phase because we've got the TV shows and we've got this. So, and the movies. So, it's like where,
and I think
where is the
Marvel's
content coming? Is it, is the content coming mostly from the shows? Are they landing more? Are the movies landing more? I think the shows overall, of the movies that have come out, the shows I think have done moderately better. The biggest hit for Marvel was a Sony movie. It was Spider-Man. Shang-Chi was fine. It was a good movie. Eternals was terrible. Black Widow was this was good. This was probably one of the second best movie they put out.
Yeah, this is going to come
phase.
after Spider-Man.
Yeah, so it's hard to really. Dan said it earlier, and he said it right. They set the bar so high. We are, I'm expecting like these big team ups. I'm expecting like all these characters to show up, and I'm expecting like this grandiose moments. And they we're getting there, but it's just we're not there yet in these phases of the MCU. So I am, I still want to see where it's going to go. I'm hoping the payoff is worth it. We're getting a ton of new characters that we know very little about. Like most people don't have a ton of exposure to her kids. Most people don't have a ton of exposure to America Chavez, who I feel like we gave her as much talking time as she got in the movie, which is sad. I wanted, like I said earlier, I wanted just a little bit more out of the character, a little bit more America Chavez. I want to see more of what they do with her. It was a little strange that they just kind of drop her in Kamartash, but I was like, okay,
well,
cool.
You know what
she
I
can
do like about
now
that
too.
Is now that she's in Carmitage, she's with somebody who we all know is cool, is Wong, and Wong has has a tendency to show up just. He's like the new Phil Coulson, like he just shows up like all over the place now, because now that this phase is more mystical, like he's the intermediary between like all these different superheroes now, because of the fact that he's the Sorcerer Supreme and the fact that he can teleport anywhere the hell he wants in a matter of seconds. So like. Yeah. He, if anything, if they ever choose to do like a Young Avengers type of show, I wouldn't be surprised if he's like one of the people who puts them together, because he seems to know everybody. Like
We're getting there. We've seen most of the cast of the Young Avengers kind of there. I think White Vision
Adventures of
would
Ned
fit
and
in
Young
because
American
as like a
Shamans.
chaperone. But we got Patriot in, you know, the character who plays Patriot in what's it called? Falcon and Winter Soldier. We've got her kids. You saw like a little shout in one of the earlier in Ultron. You see a little AI chip that says Jacosta on it, who at some point was Vision's kid or something like that. You know, you've got a bunch of the characters that are there, and you know,
It's coming together.
I'll see it. We'll see it at some point. You
Coming
know,
together.
we're not going to get another Avengers movie, so
Yeah,
who knows what we're going to get?
It's
What'd you
getting
say, Dan?
the picture of these two organizations that's coming together. Obviously, is like slowly. It's this phase is interesting because it's peppering obviously like a lot of different groups that may be forming because people know that like we're not sure what's happening with the Avengers. So there's like this post Avengers
Got
phase
Thunderbolts.
that yeah, like with Thunderbolts and then with these young Avengers, because it's you notice like the big lenses and you looking back at the big pictures, you obviously see a lot of these young characters being introduced, filling old spots, it seems like. And then there's also this other kind of like pseudo group that's coming together, and I think it'll be very interesting to see how they do it, especially with the fact that Thunderbolt Ross probably will, I assume his character will also pass away in the Marvel MCU. I don't know if they'll find somebody else to play him.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough spot, but
Yeah,
we'll
I
kinda
don't know
see
how
what
they'll do
happens.
the Thunderbolts. Maybe they'll just let Julia Dreyfus
Yeah, they'll
take
probably
care of
give
it
it to her
and let
That
her
would make
run
sense.
it. But
Yeah.
it'll be like named in his honor, General Ross's crew, like his project that
Thaddeus
she runs.
Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, and they'll still call it the Thunderbolts in his honor or something like that. I think that'll be really cool. So it's interesting to see. This is a very slow drop in the big picture. I feel like from especially from like Ultron and even before Ultron and all that, every movie gave us a pretty good look at like what's happening in the big picture. And this phase is just like, it is slow. Like we are seeing the big picture really slowly, it seems like. It's a drip feed.
We'll see what happens. You know, I hope they don't overextend and do too much and try and branch out too far and kind of lose sight of the big picture, but hopefully they do. We could go on about predictions and what we're going to want to see in the Marvel Universe for hours, but we are going to call it, ladies and gentlemen, just over an hour. We did what we said. We will be back with another episode. I'm going to say next week, to be determined. I will throw out a tweet or an IG post of what we're going to talk about. Other than that, look forward also to our upcoming in a couple weeks. Probably going to do a little Kenobi thing if we all watch the first episode. You know, if there's a topic out there that you guys want us to hit, if you have suggestions and stuff like that, you can leave it in the comments here. You can leave it in the comments on the YouTube channel. We are always looking for suggestions and topics. I will be putting up the first episode this week of the Versus series, so you'll see that coming. Keep an eye out, and yeah. I've been Tim Bolin, SirSlice13. Otherwise, find me mostly at The Modern Nerd on most platforms. Nerd_modern on Twitter. Smirch, where they find you?
Merchandise on Instagram.
It's merchandise as shown on the screen here, and as always, our wonderful Twitch host GJC327 you can find right here, and that is his handle on everything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with everything. Cool. So look forward to talking to you guys again. We thank you all for coming and watching, and hope you had a good time. Enjoy, everybody.